Today, we're going to do something a little different. We are walking through a really interesting self-assessment that can help spot potential signs of dyslexia. So if you've ever found yourself wondering if you might be dyslexic, this is a fantastic place to start. Let's just dive right in. So let's start with a really direct question. Do you find reading and writing difficult? I mean, maybe spelling just feels like this constant battle, or maybe words kind of dance around on the page sometimes. Well, that's exactly the kind of thing this informal test is designed to explore. Now, this isn't just some random quiz from the internet. Nope. It's actually based on the Banger Dyslexia Test, or BDT, which is a really well-established screening tool. So that gives this whole walkthrough a pretty solid, credible foundation. And the accuracy? It's really impressive. A study on the Bangor Dyslexia Test found that it correctly classified 94% of the people who took it. That's a huge success rate for an initial screening, and it's exactly why it's such a useful tool to begin with. Okay, before we go one step further, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say, please remember, this is just a helpful indicator. It is not a replacement for an official diagnosis from a qualified professional. You got to think of this more as a first step, a way to understand yourself a little better. All right, let's get you ready to actually do this with me. Go grab a pen and a piece of paper, and just list out the numbers 1 to 9 right down the side of the page. We're going to go through 9 little tasks or questions, and if you struggle with one, or if you'd answer yes to the question, just put a little check mark or a tick next to that number. It's as simple as that. You're ready? Our first group of tasks is going to look at things like spatial awareness and short-term memory. Let's get started. First one up. Do you confuse left and right? You know, this can be a sign of having a little difficulty with automatic spatial processing. Think about it for a second. When you're giving directions, do you ever say left when you totally meant right? Or do you have to take that extra beat to figure it out? If you've ever had trouble with this, or you still do, go ahead and put a mark next to number 1. For number 2, let's talk about family. Are any of your family members dyslexic? Or maybe they were never officially diagnosed, but you know they've always had a tough time with reading or spelling. You know, there's a really strong genetic component here. If one of your parents is dyslexic, there's a 40 to 60% chance that you might be too. If any of that sounds familiar, go ahead and mark down number 2. Okay, time for a little memory task for number 3. This is going to test what's called your phonological loop. It's part of your working memory that holds on to sound-based info. So I'm going to say 6 numbers. Your job is to listen carefully and then try to repeat them back in the exact same order. Ready? The numbers are 7, 9, 6, 2, 9, 4. You can go ahead and pause right here to try that out loud. Let's try just one more of those. Here we go. 4, 5, 9, 8, 4, 7. So, how'd that feel? If you found it was a bit of a challenge to recall those numbers in the right order, go ahead and put a mark next to number 3. All right, you're doing great. We're moving on to our second set of indicators now. These are going to focus more on language processing and logical sequences. Question number 4. Did you used to confuse the letters B and D after you were about, say, 8 years old? You know, it's super common for little kids to mix these up, but if that confusion kind of stuck around for a while, it can point to some difficulty with visual processing and remembering the direction of symbols. So if that's a yes for you, go ahead and mark number 4. Next up, multiplication. For number 5, ask yourself this. Do you find it hard to recite the 6, 7, and 8 times tables just from memory? Having a tough time with this can signal a challenge with rote memorization of just random sequences, which is a really common hurdle in dyslexia. For a lot of people, these specific tables were an absolute nightmare to lock into memory. If that sounds like you, mark down number 5. Okay, now for a little language puzzle. This is called phonemic manipulation, and it's a direct test of your phonological awareness. That's your ability to hear and kind of play with the individual sounds and words. It's a core skill for reading. So, I'll give you a word and ask you to mentally swap out one sound for another. For example, if I gave you the word slide and asked you to replace the s sound with a g sound, you'd get glide. Make sense? Okay, here's the first one. The word is worked. Now, in your head, replace the K sound at the end with an S sound. What's the new word you get? It's worst. Let's try another one. The word is paste. Now, replace that S sound in the middle with an N sound. The new word is paint. And last one for this task, the word is brain. Replace the B sound with a K sound. And the new word is crane. Okay, so if that mental juggling of sounds felt kind of tricky, or you found yourself hesitating a lot, that's a clear indicator. Go ahead and mark number 6 if you struggled with that one. And here we are. We've made it to our final and, I'll be honest, most challenging section. These tasks are all about reversing information and recalling sequences, which can be particularly tough. Okay, number 7. This one is a big test of your working memory. It means you have to hold on to information, flip it around in your head, and then say it out loud. So I'll give you a sequence of numbers, and you need to repeat them back to me in the reverse order. You ready? The numbers are 5, 9, 9, 6, 8. Go ahead and pause and try that. Now, this is tough for almost everybody, but if you found it especially difficult, put a mark down for number 7. All right, here's a similar kind of challenge. For number 8, I want you to try reciting the months of the year in reverse order. This tests something called automaticity, basically how easily you can recall a sequence you've learned really well and then manipulate it. So go ahead and pause here and try it, starting from December and working your way all the way back to January. If that was a real struggle, mark down number 8. And here we are, our final indicator, number 9. It's all about subtraction. Do you find that simple subtractions that take a couple of mental steps, like 44 minus 9 or 55 minus 12, are kind of difficult to do in your head? This also taps into that working memory, since you have to hold on to the numbers while you do the calculation. If so, go ahead and mark down your last indicator. Okay, you did it. You've completed all 9 tasks. So now it's time to look down at your paper and just count up all the marks you made. Let's talk about what the results of this little informal test might be suggesting. So, what's the magic number? Well, it's 4. According to the framework of the Bangor Dyslexia Test, if you mark down 4 or more of these indicators, it suggests that you might be dyslexic. And just to give you a really concrete example, this is actually the scorecard from the person who created the source video for this. As you can see, they are dyslexic, and they ended up marking 8 out of the 9 indicators. This just kind of helps you visualize how the scoring works and what a result could look like. So I'm going to end by repeating the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. This self-assessment is a powerful tool for self-insight, but, and I can't stress this enough, it is not a replacement for an official diagnosis. If your results have raised some questions for you, the best next step is to talk to a professional. So, regardless of your score, just take a moment and reflect. What have you learned about how your own mind works? Because understanding your unique cognitive strengths and challenges, that's the real goal here. That's the first step toward finding new strategies and really embracing the way you think.